In this video, we're laying out all the facts as to whether you should buy or sell NAT. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Matthew, and today we're talking all things NAT. I've covered NAT a couple times before in previous videos, and I've been getting a lot of questions from you guys as to what I'm doing with my position and whether or not I think you should buy or sell. Now, I don't want to tell you what to do with your money, so instead I'm going to empower you with something that we do a lot of on this channel, which is digestible research. This is what you'll get pretty much every week as long as you hit that little red subscribe button. Today we've got 4 reasons why perhaps you should not buy NAT and 5 reasons why perhaps you should buy NAT. We're going to go over a quick recap of just how we got to this point. A long time ago, in a stock exchange far away, NAT was introduced to us retail investors. And a retail investor is just someone who's a non-professional investor. NAT had an insane run to about $9 before dropping over 40% after what looked like an impressive pump and dump. A pump and dump is when the thick boys over on Wall Street and the media promote the heck out of a stock. They buy in, and then all of a sudden they rapidly take their profits, leaving us, the retail investors, with big red portfolios and similarly sized holes in our hearts. But that's why I'm here, to give you some of the information you need to be educated on this stock and many others alike. So let's jump right into it. We're going to start with some of the bad news on perhaps why you should sell. We've got 4 reasons for you today, the first of which is the reopening of states. And before you guys say, oh, Matthew, we've heard this before, okay? There's like 80 million different videos on NAT out there right now. Well, let me tell you, we're gonna get to some points that I haven't heard anywhere else, at least not yet. But yes, I'm sure you've heard this first point a few times by now, so we'll go over it really quickly. More and more states are beginning to reopen their economies, which could serve as a justification for oil demand to rise. Oil demand may rise as people begin to drive again and reopen their businesses and go about their lives once more. But Matthew, how can the partial reopening of just a few states really affect oil demand? Now, the partial reopening of a lot of states and the full reopening of a couple here and there may not necessarily be enough to truly drive up oil demand yet. But the stock market is always a few months ahead. So the way I see it, people expect an increase in oil demand, therefore they expect a decrease in oil storage demand, therefore they expect NAT's huge boost in revenue to go bye-bye. And now perhaps the biggest reason why NAT has gone down so much. Because not enough people smashed the like button on this video. In all seriousness, these videos do take a lot of time and research, so I'd really appreciate just dropping a like. It's the easiest way you can support this channel. Thanks so much. But the actual second reason why you perhaps should not buy NAT, and this is the one that I haven't seen in any other videos, is NAT's NAV.
What?
NAT's net asset value is actually something that people have pointed out as a reason to buy NAT. But I'm going to explain first what it is, second, why I think it should not be used as a bullish case, and third, why I think it's actually a major concern. A lot of people have been using the 2008 Great Recession as a reference point for NAT stock, because 2008 saw a similar spike in oil surplus. If history repeats itself, this could give us some valuable insight as to how NAT will behave. When we make this comparison, we can zero in on one specific metric called net asset value, or NAV. NAV is simply a company's assets minus their liabilities over the number of shares they have outstanding, or the number of shares traded on the market. Here's a digestible example. Let's say a company has $7 million in assets, $3 million in cash, $1 million in liabilities, and 1 million shares. In this case, their net asset value would be $9 per share. This is a number that can be compared to a stock's current share price, and back in 2008, NAT was trading at a 64% premium to its net asset value. And a premium simply means it was trading at 64% above its net asset value. As I record this video, NAT is currently trading at a 23% premium to its net asset value, meaning it is way below the 64% premium that we saw in 2008. The people that are saying we should buy NAT because of its current net asset value are essentially saying, well, in 2008, it was trading at a 64% premium, 64% above its net asset value. And in 2008, there was a huge oil surplus. Therefore, now in 2020, with this huge oil surplus, we should apply that same 64% premium to its current price. And right now, it's only at a 23% premium. In other words, because it was overpriced then, it should be overpriced by just as much now. Here's 2 reasons why that really concerns me. First, I think a 64% premium on anything should not be your expectation. A premium means that something is above what it should be or usually is. With all the hype around NAT seeming to have mostly died down, I find it hard to imagine that NAT could claw back to a 64% premium in any regard. Second, when analyzing stocks, you often compare metrics between other companies in the same industry. And NAT is the only oil tanker stock right now trading at a premium on its net asset value. Let me say that again. NAT is the only major oil tanker stock trading at a premium to its net asset value as I record this video. Thus, logically, instead of boosting that premium further, NAT should really be calming down to meet the other players in the industry. So that was obviously a very long reason number 2 as to why perhaps you should not buy NAT right now, but we'll get over these last 2 really quick and then we can move on to why you should buy NAT. Number 3, OPEC oil cuts. Worldwide producers of oil led by OPEC have continued to cut their oil production. Saudi Arabia is in quote, whatever it takes mode, while OPEC and others want to maintain these cuts beyond June. Put simply, they're trying to reduce oil supply to increase oil demand. And finally, the 4th reason why perhaps you should not buy NAT right now, and another one that I haven't seen too many people focus on. Tanker routes got hammered. The daily rate for chartering an oil tanker from Saudi Arabia to China has plunged by over 50% in 1 week due to the OPEC cuts. We have to remember that oil tankers are not solely in the business of oil storage. That's just what they're needed for right now. At their core, oil tankers are just that, tankers. They're needed to transport oil. So if their rates for transporting oil have been slashed as well, then that's definitely reason for some of the hype around stocks like NAT to become deflated. So in summary, NAT's main selling point as of late is that it stores oil and it's getting paid a lot to do that. But with increased demand and decreased supply, both of those are bad for oil storage. Additionally, NAT is trading at a premium in terms of net asset value when compared to other oil tankers, and the expectation should not be for it to push this premium even higher. Finally, the recent highs from contracts in terms of chartering actual oil transportation are getting slashed, so that's not a great confidence booster for the stock. But I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't present both sides to you guys, so now 5 reasons why perhaps you should buy NAT right now. Reason number 1 is you just have to hope that the price will continue to go up, otherwise you're never going to make your money back. Totally kidding, I'm sorry if that was kind of a soft spot or I struck a nerve, but we're going to be breaking down these 5 reasons perhaps why you should buy NAT into 2 kind of fundamental-ish analysis reasons, and then 3 technical analysis reasons, because that is 5. 2 plus 3 is 5. My first reason to buy NAT right now is actually a counterpoint to one of the reasons I said you shouldn't buy NAT. And that is, increased oil demand could be good for NAT. In a letter to shareholders, the CEO of NAT said, increased demand leads to more transportation work for our tankers. Yes, it was previously said that the rates for oil tanker routes was slashed by 50%. But that article says they were slashed by 50% to $100,000, which is still pretty good. And this also just proves that oil tanker storage is not the determining factor for NAT by any means. The second reason to buy NAT right now, and probably the one you've heard the most so far, is their dividend. Now, believe it or not, this is actually a catalyst for NAT's price to rise in the near future. As many of you likely know, NAT is an extremely dividend-focused company saying, quote, "We are prioritizing dividend." With so much new cash coming in from these higher rates that they already locked into contracts, a lot of that cash is going to be coming back to its investors. For this reason, NAT might see a small bump in their share price right around May 22nd, which is their ex-dividend date. For those who don't know, an ex-dividend date is when the company actually marks in their books who's going to be receiving their dividend for that quarter or year, etc. So if you buy in before May 22nd, you'll probably be getting their dividend, and a lot of people know this, so that's why we might see a little spike there. Additionally, if you have a ton of NAT shares, it's a possibility you could just write it out and collect that dividend anyway. Now let's hop right into my screen and take a look at the 3 technical analysis reasons as to why you should buy NAT right now. Okay, so don't get overwhelmed or anything. This is just a 20-day chart, which means it's showing the price movement for NAT over the last 20 days, and I'll explain everything as we go. So there are a few different technical analysis points that suggest a buy for NAT right now. The first of which is volume. So these purple bars down here are the volume for NAT stock on that particular day. And volume is just the number of shares that were traded on that day. Usually strong moves upwards and strong moves downwards are accompanied by strong volume. So as you can see, this was the huge run up to about $9 that we saw a couple weeks ago, and it was accompanied by increasing volume, especially right here. And big moves down also have big volume. And as of late, volume has been pretty low, and in fact, it looks like it's been tapering down right around here. This means that NAT is very susceptible to a big move in either direction. And based on its previous history of this big fat downtrend, I personally think it's more likely that we'll see a breakout upwards instead of downwards, because we've already gotten beaten down pretty hard. And that leads into our second point for why you should buy NAT right now in terms of technical analysis, which is support. This line right here is the line that I actually drew onto this chart using one of the tools. You just double click like that, and boom, there's another red line. And I chose to put it here because you can see how NAT bounced off this line. It bounced right here, bounced right here, bounced sort of right here, and bounced right here, and it just bounced off there again today. This is what we would call a support, because every time NAT gets near this price, it begins to recover. So it's supporting the stock price. As you can see, it's already bounced off this line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, which means it's probably a pretty good support. So going back to our point about volume, if there's a huge volume day, it's likely going to have either a big move up or down. And with a strong support, it's likely that it'll be a move up. And finally, our third point on technical analysis and our fifth point overall as to why you should buy NAT is the MACD indicator, and that's this bar down here. Essentially, this tells us the momentum of the stock. So as you can see, the huge spike, obviously there was very big momentum going upwards, and now very big momentum going downwards. So as of late, it started to peter out, just like the volume. The momentum is really looking for a direction right now, and match this with the volume and with the support, the MACD could easily see a swing up in momentum in the near future. If you found any value at all in this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications because I make videos like this all the time. So those are the 5 reasons why you should buy NAT right now, and we already talked about the 4 reasons why you should not buy NAT right now. Ultimately, I don't want to tell you what to do. I just hope that this video can serve as sort of a launch pad for you to do your own research and your own due diligence. Before we get into the quote of the day, make sure to comment down below if you have any research that you'd like to share with us, or if you just want to tell me your favorite color or get to know me. I love interacting with you guys, and I will reply to all the comments as I do with every video. Make sure to check out the Instagram where I post daily stories about my side hustles, mindset, books I read, and my portfolio. And with that, we're gonna go to the quote of the day. When confronted with 2 courses of action, I jot down all the arguments, weighing the arguments pro and con. That is from Benjamin Franklin, telling us how he makes his decisions. I chose this quote today because a lot of us are wondering, do we buy NAT? Do we sell NAT? Do we buy stocks in the general market? Or do we hold on and wait for it to potentially drop again? I personally really relate to this quote because I love making pros and cons lists when it comes to making decisions. In my opinion, it's a very black and white way to say what's probably the better option. And if you ever doubt yourself later on, you can refer back to the pros and cons list and be like, yeah, this was a logical decision, it makes sense, and I shouldn't really regret what I did, unless you should. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching to this part in the video. As always, please drop a like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss a beat. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.